Let's talk squirrel problems today and a fairly humane way to deal with them if you want to get them far away from you without killing them, poisoning them, dealing with some of the things that people may not be comfortable with. So today's backyard adventure is all about a fairly humane way to eliminate squirrels from your backyard, whether it's nut trees or fruit trees. I don't know if they mess with fruit, I haven't had that problem, or just your bird houses, things like that. So hopefully this is helpful. Alright, so I got in my hand here some hazelnuts, filberts, that grow from these trees behind me. I've got 4 of these. Pretty exciting to watch these things grow from little tiny trees I bought several years back to some fairly large hazelnut trees. But with these nuts, I have watched the last several years, well, I've experienced a losing battle as the squirrels have continually come and just basically pulverized the trees behind me from nuts in a matter of just a couple of weeks. Right before they're really ripe, they go through, and between them and the stellar jays, the bluebirds, kind of stellar jays that we have up here in the Pacific Northwest, just completely taken 99% of the nuts off the tree to where I don't get to enjoy any. And the trees are getting bigger and bigger, producing thousands of nuts, but I am at war with them, and I think I finally have turned a corner this year. So what I've got is I've got a cage behind me. I'm going to show you how this works, but it's a live trap. You can pick them up on Amazon, and they're fairly available in different places. But they work great with rabbits. I got a previous video about that, so I use those in my garden during certain seasons of the year. But they're fabulous now with squirrels. So this is really effective around a birdhouse area if you've got a bird feeder where the squirrels like to go after the seeds and all that and just take all the, just knock it apart. And it's been super helpful. In fact, for the last 9 days, I've gotten 7 squirrels. And then over the last, I'd say 3 weeks or so, I've gotten probably, well, definitely over a dozen, maybe a dozen to 15 squirrels in my suburban backyard, where I thought I had maybe 2 or 3 squirrels. I catch one, and I know they're far enough away from my house now that they're not coming back. And sure enough, there's 1 or 2 there the next day. And it's definitely slowing down. I think I'm getting close to the end, but let me show you what this trap is, how it works. But basically, a couple things about it. The feed, or the bait. The nuts, because that's what they're going after, have been super popular. So I'll take a handful of nuts, either off the tree or off the ground that they've knocked over, put them towards the back of the cage and kind of scatter them around. The other thing has been apples. Apples or apples with peanut butter, definitely over by the bird feeder. I've used those, and I started with those here, but I just found that they wanted the nuts. Let me show you how this thing works. So you can see the metal door here. This is the little safety. When this drops down, it blocks it from being able to open up. And then I've got my hook here. So that hook holds it, comes down, and this little plate, once that gets a little bit of pressure on there, that pops down, springs the door shut. Now you can see some nuts from the last time I had in here, some nuts. Those never got eaten once the squirrel was caught. It did not want anything to do with this cage. But I'll take some nuts, throw them back there, and get a couple down by the plate, and then scatter a few over here. So let me go get some nuts. I'll put them here in the front. I like to leave some nuts kind of scattered in there, have the bulk in here where they can see them, and I don't know if they smell them, but I want them to see those, go after them, and then just a little bit of teasers by the door where they can kind of see, oh, it's not so bad, and there's more in there. All right, so a couple of little tips about this. First off, I like to take the trap, and when I have it set, if possible, I like to have it facing my house. So my house is that direction, to where I can open up the back patio door or look out the window. And if I can see that solid metal down, I know I've caught something. If it's up, I know I'm still good. I don't really want to leave a squirrel or animal in there for a long period of time. I don't want it to overheat or just the stress or whatever. So I'd like to catch it and then be able to get this thing released as quick as possible for its own sake, and then I can go catch another one in a day. Try to get 2 for 1. So that's one tip. Second tip is I like to take the food, so in this case the nuts, and I scatter a couple on the outside, couple right inside, and then put a fair amount in the very back, so it really wants to get to where the prize is. I don't want to get it full before it gets in there, but I want to give it just a tempting. So whether I have it over by the bird feeder with some apples and peanut butter, I'll put a couple little pieces, maybe some pieces of lettuce or something like that. I don't know if they eat the lettuce, the rabbits do. That works well with the rabbits, but I'll have that a little bit on the outside, and then definitely at the front of it, and then on that little flapper, the trigger, and towards the back, so that it wants to get in there and get to the good stuff. Another tip, when you catch a squirrel or a rabbit, they can pee or poo in your cage or wherever your cage is at. So when you take this and you're going to be driving it to maybe a couple miles away, take it to a park or whatever else, a wooded area, you want to make sure that you've got something underneath that in your car, because I've had several of these where I keep a piece of cardboard and I see, oh, there's a couple little little special treats they left for me, or a little puddle they left. So just be aware of that, way to keep the back end of your car or your truck clean. But this works really well. So got it set. Let's go ahead and see what happens. It might take a couple hours. It might be tomorrow before we catch it, but I'm pretty confident we'll catch something, and I'll show you what it looks like. And there goes the trap. Looks like a squirrel was hungry and saw all those nuts in there, decided to go after it. So you can see when a squirrel gets in there, it is not excited to be captured. Back and forth. But again, it's a humane way, well, I think it's a humane way to eliminate the squirrel without killing it. And so we're gonna go take this to another place where it can live happy and away from all of my nut trees. But kind of cute. Okay, little guy. Hi there, it's okay. Kind of cute though. All right, so I'm out here, kind of a park area, and I like to go at least a mile away from the house just to get it far away, but not necessarily drop it off in some other neighbor's house where they have to deal with the squirrels. So I like to go out in a fairly wooded area. So I've got my squirrel here. I'm gonna go ahead and let it go and see if it'll just jump towards the trees. Oh, and it's gone. Bouncing around the parking lot. All right. All right, so the trap is reset. We got that squirrel free. It's happy. It can go find its brother or sister, whoever was with it down there that I've left before other days. Maybe they can all have a family reunion and populate the park down there and leave my nuts alone here. So the trap is set again. We'll see if we catch any more of these. I think we're getting towards the end. I can't imagine they've reproduced that fast and there's gonna be more, but again, I've probably caught a dozen of these things over the last month or so. So there can be a lot. I'm just in a typical suburban backyard. They work very well with rabbits, bunnies. I've heard of people catching a raccoon. Not a good experience that you want to have. I have not had that experience since I've had this year, but it's a pretty good cage for humanely, as much as possible, eliminating the creatures you don't want in your backyard. There's times where I really like the squirrels, but not when they mess with my trees or the bird feeder. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful. If you got any questions or anything like that, put those in the comments there. If you don't like how I do this and you have a suggestion, besides just let them be, because I'm not going to do that right now, well, put those in the comment area also, and hopefully this is helpful. So have a good life.